Going to dive into the power run scheme out of multiple formations and different personnel groupings. If that's something you're interested in, stick around. You're going to want to see this video. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the video. I'm Coach Ross, and this is Coach Ross Football. I talk anything and everything spread offense on this channel. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Also, if you like this video, make sure you give it a like. We're going to get into it right now. We are talking about the power run scheme. Now, personally, I love the power run scheme. It's probably my second favorite run scheme next to the counter, both being gap run schemes. Do also like running the inside zone, but I do agree with other coaches when they say you got to be either a gap scheme or inside zone. You can't really do them both because there is so many different things going on. I tend to agree with coaches when they say that, because if you've ever ran inside zone or different multiple variations of zone itself, zone is its own separate beast. It's a great scheme, lots to do off of it. However, there is so much involved in it. So I would be one of those people or one of those coaches that would tell you, if you're trying to figure out what kind of run schemes you want, you could dive down the rabbit hole of the inside zone and the different options that zone gives you, whether it be wide zone, outside zone, whether we're talking tight zone, mid zone, split zone. There's so many different ones that you can go through that, like I said before, it's a zone animal. Or you can start doing the gap schemes where you have your counter, your power, your trap, your pin and pulls. Those are great run schemes. And you have those inside runs, you have those outside runs as well, that they follow the same kind of familiarity when it comes to the blocking scheme, I should say. I love power because you can mirror power along with the counter because it has a lot of crossover blocking scheme rules that counter does have. So you are changing a thing or two here and there, but mainly when you're talking about gap down backer, things like that, those rules are very similar to power and counter. So there's not much change when it comes to actually learning the actual scheme and trying to install it, because most of it is already installed, especially if you install counter first. So I'm going to show you power out of 10 personnel. I'm going to show it to you out of 11 personnel. And then I'm also going to show it to you out of 20 personnel because I love it out of split backs. Not only am I going to show you how I block it up, but I'm also going to show you a couple little things that you can do with each personnel grouping that can provide answers to the defense if they do something that you're not expecting, or if they are doing something you are expecting, then you created that if then scenario, which you've heard a lot of other coaches talk about. I'm a big believer in it as well. So again, if the defense does this, then we do this based on the play that we call. So I'm going to show you a couple little answers that I've put in or that I like to use with my power scheme if a defense tries to take it away. Start off in our 2x2 set, our base formation, our ace formation here. This is one of our main base formations. So I like in my offense, I like to be able to run every single play out of my offense out of one of those base formations. I would like to be able to do it, since power is no different. So this is what we're going to do with power here. So if we are running power to the right, this backside tackle is going to inside step here, and he's going to try and wall off this tackle. The center is going to combo with the play side guard, and they're going to work this combo up to this backside linebacker. We are going to base block right here, this play side end. Basically, just take this end. If he wants to go upfield, we're going to let him go upfield. We're just going to base block him to create this hole here. Our backside guard is skip pulling through the hole, and he's picking up this defense or this linebacker right here. And running back is aiming point at the inside heel of this guard, and then up through the hole to follow and read the blocks of the lineman to see where he has that open grass. We are leaving this defensive end unblocked, very similar to what counter would be doing, and quarterback is simply reading what he does if this defender chases down the line of scrimmage at the running back. Quarterback simply just keeps the ball, and he's out the back door, out the outside. And he's got a nice little gain here because we are either setting up a bubble screen here, or we are setting up just blocking, or we are running clear outs. A couple different things that we add into the play call based on what we see the defense is doing. So that is just the original look of power. Typically, a lot of times, if we were just running the straight power without any kind of answer or kind of RPO concept attached to it, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll send these receivers out a clear out route to try and get these defenders out of here so that we have more space for the run or the quarterback to run if this defensive end does happen to chase down the line. Now, obviously, if he sits and he squats on the quarterback, then obviously that's a give read for the quarterback to hand the ball off. And one thing I do like to add into this power scheme here is more of a kind of like a double option, a double RPO, if you will, that we read here. So I'll take you through it here. Just the blocking scheme is very similar. We're gonna have the skip pull through. He's gonna block there, there, and taking that up there. Oops. And this lineman is base blocking here. Running back is through the hole here. Now, on the backside, we are obviously still reading this defensive end, but now we are working a bubble screen here. Blocking right there for the bubble. So now essentially what we are doing is we are reading this man right here. Okay. So if this defensive end chases down the line, he chases down the line here. Quarterback is now pulling the ball. He's coming out here. Now he has an option. He has the option to run. Now, what does this defender do? Does he trigger with the bubble screen? If that's the case, quarterback's just going to keep the ball simply and just run up the field in that vacant space where he left off. But if this defender decides to now engage the quarterback simply can just flip it out to this bubble right here, the receiver out on the bubble screen right here, and hopefully have a decent gain. So that's one little answer I like to add on to the power scheme out of a 10 personnel. Now, this is the more traditional way to run power, in my opinion. A lot of coaches like to run the power scheme out of the spread, out of an 11 personnel, and I'm a fan of it too as well. I like having that sniffer back, that tight end that gives you a different kind of matchup in the passing game as well as helps you in the run blocking scheme as well. So this is how we run power on our out of our 11 personnel. This is how I like to run it. Basically, there is no change. The only thing that's going to change is we're going to actually double team this play side defensive end here and work up to that nearest outside safety. So everything stays the same here. So the blocking is here. So we are still running power to the right. He's coming through, kicking out there. We are double teaming here, getting the double team there, and working that double team to this backside linebacker. Now what I like to do is get a double team here with the tight end, but then have the tight end, basically it's almost like a chip block, but then have him move up to that second level defender. Because what that does, that adds something in a little bit later to the play that I like to do as far as an answer. Steps for the running back, still the same. Little delay, gonna let this guard clear, gonna fall in behind him and try and read the block. Terrible reading. So he's gonna try and read the block through there and find the open grass. You could, if you want, attach the bubble already just to show it. You can have that bubble there too as well. We again are still reading this defensive end, this backside defensive end. If he chases, quarterback just simply keeps and goes. Okay. Nothing really changes. The answer to this type of personnel, the one thing that I like to put in is still have the bubble screen to the side if you want to run that and still run the traditional bubble screen RPO type to the side. But with a tight end, with that sniffer back in there, using him in the run scheme and creating that power running game, throughout the course of the game, you can catch the defensive definitely falling asleep, napping, and eventually forgetting about the tight end. I like to um, add on a pop pass almost to every single running scheme, play action pop pass, RPO with the sniffer back because of the simple fact that a lot of times when you don't hit it and the defense basically just forgets about the tight end in the passing game, especially if you don't use them that often, and all of a sudden then you see that happen and you take advantage of it because you had that pop pass attached. You just call real quick and it's an easy free yards taking advantage of the safety or linebacker, whoever it might be that's responsible for that sniffer back or that tight end to fall asleep and worry, focusing in trying to fit the run and trying to stop the run. And the yards behind where that defender was are wide open. So this is how I like to do it. So again, we are going to double here. He's going to chip, and then he's going to work his way this way. But once he does, if he sees that that defender is getting a little bit nosy, he's just basically just going to settle up in that area because if that defender decides to go challenge the run and go fit the run and try and come off this block or shoot inside to try and take away the hole, then quarterback simply just reads that. If we're calling this, quarterback just reads. So essentially, it's just an RPO that we call. He'll read that, and based on what this defender does, if he shoots and tries to fit the run, we just throw the pop pass or the stick or the hitch right behind him. So and we tell this tight end here, the minute you see that defender, that nearest defender, whether it be a linebacker, whether it be a safety, the minute he starts not paying attention to you and just runs past you, turn around, turn around. So if that is at 5 or 7 yards, or if that's 10 yards, whatever it might be, the minute he just runs past you, turn around. Quarterback should see that because that's the guy he should be reading. He pulls it, throws it to you really quickly, and you're up the field for a lot of yards because essentially there's nobody there. Now, I didn't talk about in the last formation about the backside receiver. Why, in this case, would be you can run a multitude of different things with this. You can run, slants. You can, have that man beater if you want in there. You can have the gift route when it comes to if defense is giving you that automatic hitch route, automatic 5 yards. Why not take it? Why not take it? Or you can just have him as a decoy clear route just to clear out that corner. Whatever you preference is up to you. I've done a little bit of everything. Just I try and innovate or not innovate, but I try and just see what works. See what works for me, for my best preference. Me personally, I like the hitch route because I like the ability to take any kind of yardage I can take, whatever the defense give me, whether it be on a run play, I can still have the option to throw the ball at any time I want for those free yards. That's all I'm looking for, whether it be in the run game or in the passing game, screen game, does not matter. I'm looking for those easiest yards to take advantage of. This is one of my favorite ways to run power. I like running power out of a 2-back set here, especially when you have 2 reliable guys you can count on in the backfield. This just makes your offense, in my opinion, especially out of the gun, that much more dynamic because if you can bring in a guy that is normally a receiver that can also be brought into the backfield, normally for me, that would be my H guy. I'm looking for that guy that I can throw the ball to, hand the ball off to. He's what I call that Swiss Army knife that can do everything. I love having that ability to put him in the backfield. It just changes some things up here. So there's multiple things we can do with this power here. So I'm going to show you it. It's probably my favorite way to do it. That's why I saved it to last, best for last. So what we can do with this, simple little thing here. We're still going to run the bubble screen out here. So we'll still do that. We can still do that if we want to. Blocking, as far as up front, stays the same. It stays the same. So he's going to block here. He's skip pulling around. He's getting that linebacker there. They are doubling here, working to that linebacker right, or the backside linebacker right here. He's going to base block this play side defensive end and take him wherever he wants to go. Now, There are a multitude of things you can do with your H, or what I like to do with my H. So first thing you can do, you can add him in with the blocking scheme and have him double and basically just treat it like we talked about previously with the Z or that tight end. You can have double team that end and then work that double team up to that nearest outside linebacker or safety. You can do that. That is one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is just shoot him out this way, out into the flats. That is, of course, if you're not calling the bubble over here, moving the flats. Hopefully, what that does is that gets either this defender or one of these other defenders to give chase, or to just take them out of position to clear up some space in this back seven here. Just creates another little running lane here. All right, so there's multiple things you can do with this, but this is the power. So the base power out of this this two back set here that I love to run. So I'm going to show you a couple of answers, little fun little things we can do with this power run scheme just to make it that much harder to defend. When it comes to my offense, the two guys that I'm trying to get the ball to the most, or my most dynamic athletes, are my F and my H. So therefore, why not those two in the backfield for my 20 personnel, my split back personnel. So the answer to power is, do I give the ball to F or do I give the ball to H? And it's kind of like an RPO little thing like that. So in that case, if that's what we were doing, well then we are blocking right here. Those receivers are blocking. Again, blocking scheme still the same. Oh, I'm all right. So I make no qualms about who I like to get the ball to in my offense the most. Now I don't want to give it to everybody, but the two biggest playmakers in my offense are my F and my H, my running back, and that slot receiver, that do everything type of athlete. So why not have those two athletes or those two players in my backfield to try and to see the defense? They have no idea who's getting the ball or how they're going to get the ball, and that's what I want. So here is an answer, or answers, I should say, to what I like to do as far as if they're trying to take away power out of this split back and they're having success doing it. So what can I do to take advantage of either their aggressiveness or the way they've defended it? So if that's the case, and we are trying to give it to H, and we're not trying to run the typical RPO over here, then we'll simply just have them on basic, just blocking or clear out routes. Blocking is still the same here. Gonna wrap around. He's gonna get that backside linebacker here, that double up to that backside linebacker, and we are base blocking this end. And again, running back a little delay through the hole to pay dirt, hopefully. We are still reading this end here. Now, what we can do here, there's a couple little things we can do. The first thing you can do is add a little option game to your run here. So we are still going to read this defensive end, this backside defensive end. Again, if he chases, then the quarterback simply pulls him. But like I showed you last time, you put this defender, or excuse me, not defender, but you put this receiver in this little motion like this, and he comes out here like this in the flats. Now the quarterback pulls, he has the option here to pitch it or run the ball. So based on what we see here, we can do a multitude of things here. We can keep it in the running game and have this little speed option come off of this. So now we have two options out here in the run game based on these blocking here and what defender comes to try and challenge that option. Quarterback then can either pitch the ball or keep it himself. That is one way. The other way is simply just putting this player in a little bit of what I guess we call it tear motion, Liz motion, whatever you want to call it. Motion to the left, push motion for me would be to the right, tear motion would be to the left. That's the way I've always used it. And so we're going to put him out in motion. Quarterback's going to send him out in motion early, right, before the snap. So it's basically just going to send him out in motion. How does and quarterback's going to pay attention to how the defense adjusts, or do they adjust at all? Or do they react to it? How do they react? He's going to see that, and then we're going to run the same thing. He's still reading this backside defensive end, and if he chases, we can pull the ball. He can throw the ball out here, and essentially we've got a nice little screen set up for our player to get up to the outside. So if he sees that, we know that we have the blocking on the outside. He can just throw that ball out there because he's trying to take away the run, and we are out the door, up the sideline, putting the ball in one of our best playmakers, or probably our fastest player on the field, and the shiftiest player on the field, out in space in the flats. So I like those odds right there. So those are the answers out of a power formation or power run scheme out of a two back set. One of my favorite ways to run power. If there's something different that you do or you do it differently, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to talk about it. I'd love to learn new ideas. So there you have it. Those are the 3 ways in which I like to run the power scheme out of 10 personnel, 11 personnel, and 20 personnel, as well as the built-in answers that you can answer the defense to, however they challenge your run scheme. So if you liked this video, make sure you hit that like button. Also, if you like this content or any of my other content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow. Also, down in the comments, let me know if you run this kind of scheme differently. I'm always interested in learning new ways. Until then, I will see you in the next video.